everybody. Welcome back to the That's That podcast. What's going on? It's your girl back again with another episode. What's good? Hope you guys are having a good day, week, month, whatever it is. I'm back in the studio. Got that good microphone, got the camera set up, and I'm ready to record today's episode. I know it's been a long time since the last one, but I'm back and I'm ready to go. I'm ready to record stuff. So today's episode is about just like the metal scene and why there's so many allegations and just why so many creepy band members like to prey on women and do like really fucked up shit, you know? And I'm basically just going to be talking about that and kind of like my little theories as to why that kind of happens. So this honestly came to my mind because a couple weeks ago, if you guys didn't know, the lead singer of Dance Gavin Dance, Tillian, had allegations come up against him about how he was just being very, creepy, predatorial, I would have to say. I don't know if that's the word. But he was just being very creepy. He was coercing women to do the dirty with him. He was gaslighting, just a bunch of shit. And I don't want to speak, obviously, for the people who posted this. I don't want to speak for the women. I do believe you guys should go read all the stuff on your own. Read it on Twitter, read it on Reddit, because that's where it is. Check this out for your own. But basically, the three stories were very, very similar. They were very, very similar. So the three stories basically follow kind of like the same storyline, which is actually quite very interesting. And basically, Tillian, he was on Hinge, a dating app, and he would swipe right and match with all these girls and flirt with them, ask to go on a date with them. They would go on the date. They would drink. Tillian would get really drunk. I guess they would like go back to the apartment or wherever, and like Tillian was just like coercing them to have sex and make them feel really uncomfortable, kind of gaslight them, kind of manipulate them. It was just not pleasant, and he would try to gaslight and stuff like that. Regardless, though, something was very consistent with the three stories, and it's that he was really drunk and he was really under the influence in like all three of the stories. And I think right now he's like on leave from the band, I guess. I don't know, they kicked him out temporarily. He's going to get help, you know how it is. Whatever. I don't really know where Dance Gavin Dance is going to stand now. I don't know if they're going to get a new singer. I don't know if they're going to bring Tillian back. It's such a like weird situation that they're in because a little sidetrack right now. But I just think I feel very bad for Dance Gavin Dance because they just lost their bassist Tim. Then they had to play at Swanfest. Then these allegations of Tillian were brought up. And then now they got an album coming out next month. They're going on tour before the year ends. And it's kind of like, whoa, like, of course, all of this bad stuff happens right when they're doing all this stuff. Like, right when they're making an album and making these music videos, blah, blah, blah. You know? So that was like a little side story. I don't really know where DGD is going to go, but I don't know. But I just think it's very frustrating when allegations like these come up because I remember when I was younger too, a lot of allegations were coming up. A lot of them, like, a lot of these band members, they have done some really nasty stuff, and it's just very sad and it's frustrating because it's like, what the heck? You know, like, we listen to your music, we look up to you guys, like, you guys make us feel good, make us feel safe, but then, like, the actual members are just, like, taking advantage of, like, these women, you know? And maybe even men, I don't know, I've never heard allegations come up, like, a man comes up and says it, but regardless, man or woman, like, it's nasty. It's not good. Like, it's horrible. It's, like, one of the saddest things ever. It, like, ruins the music for everybody, you know? So there's just a lot of famous people in these bands who have done some nasty stuff. And I'm pretty sure there's a bunch of rappers out there, country musicians, whatever other genre, pop, all that stuff. Just people like artists, big artists. They've done a lot of nasty stuff, and it's really frustrating because it ruins the music for us. You're taking advantage of younger girls. You're literally a celebrity. You're literally the lead singer of their favorite band. Like, who wouldn't swipe right on Tillian on Hinge, you know? I mean, I wouldn't. I don't find him attractive, but, like, that's not the point. You know, like, a lot of women do. Like, he's not an ugly guy. They would swipe right on him, you know? And that goes for, like, every other artist, too, or, like, any rapper. Like, imagine if you find your favorite rapper on Tinder. You would swipe right and you would take a shot. You find your favorite lead singer of a band, you would swipe right and take your shot. Like, let's just be honest here, you know? It just breaks my heart in general. Like, it breaks my heart for the women, obviously, but it just breaks my heart for the people who listen to the music, for the fan base, you know? And I know, obviously, like, the other members probably feel like shit too, you know? Like, I know they were probably what the heck? But still, like, it's just a very sad situation. And it gets me to speculate a lot on what's going on behind, you know, what we see in the light. Like, what goes on with these bands, what goes on with these other band members, what's going on in other genres, you know, what's going on, like, what are the reasons, like, as to why this is happening, like, what's going on. And honestly, like, I have a couple theories. I have a couple theories as to why stuff like this is happening and just why, like, these band members do stuff like this, you know? Because when you're an artist, you're an artist. You know, if you got clout, you got clout. If you're a big name, you're a big name. You know what I'm saying? So many reasons. There's so many people. There's so much that we don't know about. It's kind of freaky, you know? But I have some theories as to why I think this happens to the band members or why they decide to do stuff like this. And I'm going to get into those theories because I'm tired of talking about Tillian and like what he did. So first off, I think one of the main reasons why this is happening and stuff like that is because back in the 70s and the 80s in the rock and roll scene, and I'm talking like Motley Crue, Guns N' Roses, like Skid Row, like those type of people, there was a lot of rock and roll mentality, rock star mentality, and there was this concept of groupies. And if you don't know what groupies are basically just women who would follow the band, party with them backstage, go to their tour bus, you know, party, do drugs, have sex with them, whatever, you know? And obviously, this inflated the ego a lot to the rock stars. You know, just having sexy women next to them while they're doing drugs and partying. Like, they feel like they're on the top of the world, right? And obviously that has been passed down through generations in the rock scene. And you see it back in 2000, 2010 with Warped Tour and all these people who were playing Warped Tour, you know, with the metalcore and the deathcore era. You saw it a lot back then. You're still probably seeing it now. Maybe not as often, but you were definitely seeing it back then. It's just that rock star mentality. Or being a rock star means playing shows, doing drugs, partying, and making love with women. Like, that's basically it. They feel like they're on top of the world. Nobody can tell them no. First of all, the labels and the managers are not telling them anything. They're not going to get in trouble because they have to play a show the next day. They have to play a gig. They have things to do. They have an interview. Like, it doesn't matter what you do. You're an artist. Like, we just want you to perform and make money. Second of all, they have women who are coming up to them, wanting to, like, make out with them and do all this stuff. Like, they're basically getting, like, their ass kissed the whole time back in the day. So I feel like that obviously passed down to now. You see it back in the Warped Tours days. You see it back in 2010. You saw it with, like, Asking Alexandria and, like, a bunch of other bands, too. Not just them. It's just that rock star mentality in the rock scene. You know, and it's not just like the rock scene anymore. Like, you see it in the rap scene too. Like, even some rappers now are saying like they're a rock star, you know? So number one reason is just really the rock star mentality and that toxic mentality that has been passed on through generations in the rock scene, where you just think that you are God, basically. And obviously, I don't believe every member has this like rock star mentality, but a lot of people do. And a lot of people, it's mostly like the front men. It's usually the front men of the band, so like the singers and the screamers in the band. It's usually them because they're the one that catches the audience's eye. Usually that's like what the fangirls go for. Like, let's be honest, it's true. So reason number one is definitely just that rock star mentality, man. That rock and roll mentality that they made it up back in the day and it's kind of still in effect now. I don't think it's as bad as now, but it's definitely like still here, you know? But nowadays I don't like it either because I see it happening a lot more with like younger girls now. You know, there's been a lot of allegations where band members have been flirting with minors, flirting with fangirls, like flirting with girls that they met on tour who are not 18. And that's where I think like the line is really, really drawn. You know, because like when you're an adult and like it's an adult woman, an adult man, like they can usually make their own decisions and stuff like that. But like when it's a minor, it's just that's just like nasty. It's just disgusting because you're preying on girls and you're preying on girls who are like fangirls, you know, like fan girls. Like, these girls are literally your fan. Like, they look up to you, they look up to your music, and they look up to your band, you know? So of course they're gonna want to be flirting with you. And of course, like, and obviously some of this to blame is like Wattpad, you know, back in the day, because Wattpad made up like this whole fantasy scenario of you and this person, this band member, and you guys are like in love and all that stuff. So obviously the girls are gonna believe that, you know? And I just remember when I was younger, like, what sticks out to me the most is like the Mike allegation from Pierce the Veil, so like their drummer. That one sticks out with me the most because like he was flirting with young girls at Warped Tour and stuff like that, and it makes me wonder, like, that could have been me, you know? Obviously not with him because he's not that cute, but like, doesn't matter. Like, that could have been me. That could have been the girl standing next to me at Warped Tour. Like, it could have been any one of us, you know? And I just hate it, and I hate it, and that goes back to the rock and roll scene, is that they just have like that ego, you know? Like, they think they're God. Like, nobody's gonna tell me no. No girl's gonna tell me no. Like, that's literally it. It's just the rock star mentality in general. So, speaking of partying, drugs, alcohol, that's definitely reason number 2 as to why these allegations are coming up all the time. It's because these members, 9 times out of 10, are either like off their ass or off their ass, you know? And reason number 2 is really just the substance abuse problems that all of these members have. Sorry, not all of them, but a good majority do. A really good, a high percentage of the people who are artists nowadays have some type of substance abuse problem, whether it be drugs, alcohol, sex, whatever it is. They have some type of problem. And you hear about this a lot, obviously, because they're always partying. They are always near the substances. You're a rock star, like, you're partying, you know, like, you're drinking, you're smoking, you're doing this, you're doing that, you know? They're constantly getting fucked up at these, like, before these shows, before these parties, and obviously this is not every band member, but definitely the ones with the allegations. 9 times out of 10, they do have, like, some type of substance abuse problem, you know? Obviously, that does not condone anything they do. Like, it doesn't matter if you're on the substance, you shouldn't have done any of that. But that's definitely a big factor. It's just that they're always near narcotics, alcohol, whatever it is. And when you're on that stuff, you're not thinking straight, you know? And another thing you gotta realize is a lot of these band members have mental illnesses. So they're mentally ill and they're using drugs to cope with it. That's basically it. I know it sounds sad, but that's basically like the rock and roll scene, I feel like. A lot of these members have some type of mental illness, have some type of substance abuse problem. It's just a lot. And it's difficult for them to take care of their mental illness and their sickness when they're on tour, because it's like they don't have time. Like, they don't have time to go to a therapist or like talk things out. Like, they're doing these long distance relationships. It's difficult taking care of yourself when you're a rock star, let's be honest. But speaking of touring, that leads me to point number 3. I think point number 3 as to why these allegations come up a lot is because they are touring a lot. They're touring a lot. They have, you know, they're dealing with long distance relationships. They're not seeing their family. They're constantly on the road, constantly sleeping on tour buses. Friday night, you got a concert, sing, you're partying. Next day is the same thing. Next day is the same thing. Next day is an interview. The band might start fighting a bit because they're all on the same bus. Like, it's a lot. Touring is a lot. Being in a band is a lot because your job in a band is basically presenting yourself and presenting your music. Touring is a lot, and it takes a big toll on your body and your mind and your physique and all that stuff. And it's obviously really hard to take care of yourself when you're constantly on the road, you know? You don't have stability, you don't have tranquility, you're not like in one spot stable. It's a lot. And on top of that, your relationships are really strained. Your girlfriend is out, you don't know if she's cheating on you, you could be cheating on her. Girlfriend, your parents are out, you can't talk to them so much, your children are far away. It takes a big toll on all of these members, I have to admit. And not to mention the different time zones, especially if it's like an international tour. Time zones are a big deal too. It's a lot. And then on top of that, they're constantly near parties, constantly near substances, constantly near, you know, women, sex, whatever. And I just think all of those things go hand in hand. You know, like, those 3 all go hand in hand together. And I think that's a big reason as to why a lot of these allegations come up, and a lot of as to why these band members do things like this. And obviously I don't condone it, like, I'm not with it. But it's hard. Like, it's hard being a musician. It's hard being an artist. And it's hard being all that stuff and being sane at the same time. It's hard being a musician and keeping your sanity at the same time. I don't condone any of it. Like, I'm so against it. I really think it's like messing us up, like everybody, like not just the victims who went through it, obviously, but just like reading about these allegations when it comes to your favorite band. Like, how does that make you feel? It makes you feel very trashy. It makes you wonder, like, who are these people really? You know, like, was this a mistake or like they for real like this, you know? But with all that said and done, it makes me wonder a lot as to how many more women have not come up with stuff that has happened to them with the bands, you know, what they have seen, stuff like that. And it makes me wonder, especially in like the rap scene and the pop scene, you know, like these bigger genres with more fans and more like bigger parties, bigger stuff like that. Like, it makes me wonder, like, just like it just makes me wonder how many women have not spoken up, or even men, like both. It just makes me wonder how many women haven't spoken up about their stories because they're scared that they're gonna get shut out because they're going against a big fan base, or because the artist might get a really good lawyer and win the case. Like, it's a lot, and it's scary, and it just makes me wonder, like, what's going on behind the closed doors, you know, because stuff like this is really sad, and I wouldn't wish this upon anybody. It's just like really frustrating. Like, it just like really frustrates me because it makes me feel really, really sad, and it makes me sick to my stomach. Like, when I was reading the Tillian allegation, I was like, there's no way, like, why would you do that? You know, like, why would you do stuff like that? You know, the Mike allegation when I was younger, like, why would you do something like that? You take advantage of women who are either A, younger than you, or just take advantage of them in general because you're like an artist and a musician, like, you think you got it like that. You know what I mean? Like, it's just very frustrating. I think as a fangirl, you can call me that, it's okay. I think as a fangirl, like, it's just disgusting, and it makes me feel really shitty because I look up to these artists, and I like look up to the music. You know, some bands more than other, obviously, but I just look up to these artists, and I look up to these bands, and to think like doing like these ugly things to women and like preying on them and stuff like that, it's just like frankly really disgusting. And it just like it kind of like makes the fan base feel more distant from the artist, I feel like, because that's how I feel when like allegations like this come up, you know. And like, I love Dance Gavin Dance. I think they're a wonderful band. They've been through a lot. They're 3 for 3 on their singers now, which is insane. But obviously now there's that little ick when I listen to them, you know what I'm saying, that little like disgust. So yeah, it's just disgusting, and please don't do it if you're a band member. I pray, like, stop, you know, it's disgusting. But I just wanted to give my thoughts on this and just say that, like, it's really hard being an artist. And it's really hard being, like, an artist in the rock scene because you're around so many substances and you're far away from your family. Like, it's just really difficult, you know? And I don't think any of this condones for Tillian or, like, the thousands of other members who have done crazy shit like this. But I just wanted to say, like, it's really hard being an artist.
But honestly, if they're weird enough to do stuff like that, then there's definitely some underlying psychological issue that they gotta deal with, plus everything I just mentioned in this episode on top of that.
So yeah, with that being said, thank you guys for tuning into this episode. I know it was like a weird one to come back with, but it's okay. Thank you guys for tuning in. If you don't follow me on social media, you should. It's gonna be right here ish kinda area. Link is in the description for everything. I'm on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat if you want to follow me on Snapchat. And I'm on Twitch now. I'm gonna start live streaming a bit on Twitch, so you guys should definitely check that out. Gonna have some one-on-one interactions with you guys. I talk a lot about music there, a lot of new releases, new stuff that's coming out, but I think I might also start playing some Sims on there, maybe. We'll see. But yeah, with that being said, thank you guys for tuning into this episode. Hope you guys have a lovely day, and I'll see you in the next one.